Is your house all cleaned out and amazing now? Isn't it incredible how much extra stuff we have that we don't really need? Some studies say that we only use about 20% of our items when the rest of that 80% is just taking up space. All right, I know you probably didn't get rid of 80% of your stuff, but I bet you have a big pile of stuff and you're anxious to learn how we're gonna sell it. The first thing you may be wondering about is how do I know what to sell at a garage sale versus eBay or Facebook Marketplace or something like that? The basic rule for a garage sale is anything goes, and I mean anything, guys. I have seen stuff sell at a garage sale that I would think belonged in the trash. Just goes to show that one man's trash is another man's treasure. Now, I don't mean you need to be selling like broken stuff or pieces of toys that you've lost the rest, or, you know, games where you only have half the game board pieces. But really, don't doubt the things that people will buy. To you, it may look like junk, but to them, it may be just the thing they were looking for. As far as what to sell on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, those are the perfect avenues for things like collectibles or items that might have a specific buyer that would be interested in them. Some examples would be like my homeschool curriculum. If I put that out at a garage sale, it's just another book that might sell for $1 or $2. But if I were to put that up on Facebook in a homeschool swap shop, those women know how much those items are worth and they're going to be willing to pay a lot more. I'm getting more money and they're getting a great deal. This is also the case with items that are specific to a certain type of hobby or interest, and items that maybe are higher end, like designer brands. Those are the items that are going to sell better when they can reach a wider audience of people who understand their value, rather than just being mixed in amongst the rest of your garage sale items. Despite the name, a garage is not the only place to have a garage sale. Some people call it a yard sale, a rummage sale, or I don't know, there's all kinds of names for it. The fact is, anywhere you can set up your items for sale, draw in crowds from the public, and sell things out that day, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about as a garage sale. If you live somewhere that having a garage sale at your home would be difficult, such as a gated community, or maybe your homeowners association doesn't allow garage sales, or maybe you live way out in the country and it's hard for people to find your house, that's not your only option. There are lots of other options where you can have garage sales. You can contact your church and see if they'll be interested in having you. You might check with your kids' preschool even, or maybe even the school parking lot, depending on if you can get a lot of moms together to have a garage sale there at the same time, or a sale at the same time. And consider giving a portion of the proceeds back to the organization that's hosting you, and they'll be a whole lot more likely to have you. And if you just can't find a place to host your sale, you can still access those online marketplaces that we talked about, such as eBay or Facebook Marketplace, and sell your items there. It's a little more hassle because you'll have to work out meeting up with your buyers and exchanging the items there. But if that's what works for you, that's great. When you are posting items for sale online, be sure to photograph the items against a plain background with natural light. Lots of bright natural light really helps the items to display best and to sell better. And give a good quality description too, that'll really catch someone's attention. Try to think about any words that they might be searching for. Synonyms for the words you might be using too, such as prom dress could also be a homecoming dress. Something vintage could be considered an antique, or just old. After location, the next thing you need to coordinate is the tables. I don't know about you, but I don't have just a whole stash of folding tables lying around the house. I have maybe 1 or 2 card tables, but not enough for all the stuff that I'm getting ready to sell. Over the years, I've gotten pretty creative at coming up with different table solutions for all my garage sales. You can ask your church or community center if they have tables that you'd be allowed to borrow or check out. You can ask your neighbors if they've got any tables. I actually borrowed a ping pong table from a neighbor across the street once. It was one of those kinds that folds up. We wheeled it across the street and up my driveway, and that's where we displayed all the clothes for that garage sale. And it was awesome. One of the most common makeshift tables that we've come up with is to take some boards and place them on sawhorses to actually create a tabletop. Let's talk about setting up your sale. One of the first things I do is to sort everything by category. So holiday decorations go together, household goods go together, clothes go together, and of course I do kids' clothes and adults' clothes separately. Shoes I display on the floor underneath the tables. Knickknacks, games, books, anything like that, I try to sort it out by category and have those displayed together, kind of like a little department within my sale. When people come to my sale, I want them to feel like they're getting a good deal. And one of the ways I do this is by making the place feel inviting. It's just kind of like setting up an actual store. You want the store to be welcoming. You want it to look clean and tidy so that the items that are there appear to be in good quality and good condition. If a person takes care of their garage and sets up their sale nicely, they've probably taken good care of the items that are on display, right? To that end, I always sweep out my garage to make sure it's as clean as possible, knock down any cobwebs and everything. And I always display items on tables, preferably covered with a drop cloth or some other kind of makeshift tablecloth. And if I have to put anything down on the ground because I don't have enough table space, I always put it on something such as a quilt or a picnic blanket or a neat sheet if you have one of those, or a drop cloth, so that it's not just laying out on the ground. The only thing that I would put on the ground specifically are things that go on the ground, like bicycles and lawnmowers and things like that. That's where they belong anyway. I also think it's important that prices are clearly marked and easy to find. People are going to ask you the prices anyway, but it helps if they're easily labeled and easy to recognize what they are. Sometimes if an item is hard to recognize immediately what it is because it doesn't have its original packaging with the name of the product on it, I might even label those things to explain this is a certain kind of electronic device, or this is whatever this little trinket is. Just things that you might not immediately understand what it is if you've never seen it before. All right, it's time to gather your supplies. You're going to need tables, tablecloths or drop cloths or quilts or something like that to display your things on. Pricing labels, you can use the pre-made kind, or you can just get the little circle dot labels. That's what I always use, and a Sharpie marker, and make your own. That way you have a little bit more flexibility. The pre-made kind never seem to have enough of the 50-cent ones for me. You'll also need signage. So let's talk for a minute about signage. I always get large sheets of poster board. I usually think about 2 or 3, just a bright neon color and a big black marker. And that's all I need for signage, because I have a few stakes at home, like wooden stakes to stake into the ground, that I keep on hand just for garage sales. I've seen a lot of people make mistakes with signs. I've seen people using cardboard boxes on the side of the road that ends up just looking like some trash. I've seen little teeny tiny signs that no one can see at all. I've seen great big signs that flop over in the wind. I've seen signs with lots and lots and lots of letters. There's so much information that it ends up being super tiny and you can't read it all. I'm going to show you the best way to make a sign. You'll need about 3 large sheets of poster board in a bright neon color. On one of them, fold it in half, write in giant letters like 14 inches tall or something. It takes up almost the entire height of the thing. Sale, and point toward your house. At the bottom, you might want to put your street number or just street name, or even just your neighborhood name if this is going to be out in the community somewhere. And at the top, you're going to put the days of the week and the time you'll start. I always like to have a 2-day garage sale. This is totally up to you, but I found that Friday and Saturday are good days to have it. And even Thursday and Friday is a great day to have it. The reason I like to do a second day is it gives more people time to come and shop, and it also gives me a chance to run a kind of a clearance sale and do half price on everything to really get it out. And you must put the time on there so they don't show up early. I mean, they're going to show up early anyway, but still put the time on there so they know what time to expect you. Don't put a ton of extra information on your signs. All they need to know is you're having a sale and it's this way. Take your doubled over sheet of poster board and put 2 stakes on either side. Tape the stakes to the insides of the poster board, staple the outsides, and then tape the outsides. You will have an indestructible sign that you can put anywhere that everybody can read and will last through the entire garage sale. In fact, if you wanted to save this for another garage sale, you could. Take another sheet of poster board, fold it in half, and cut it down the middle. On these, you're just going to draw an arrow in the direction of your home. Once somebody sees your big pink sign that says that you're having a sale somewhere, they will follow your little pink arrows back to your house. I think the bright colors are really more effective because it's eye-catching. And pink especially because road signs are not pink. Of course, signage isn't the only way to attract customers to your sale. You can also use ads in your local newspaper, on your community board, or even online. I've tried all of these, and lately my favorite way has been using the Facebook ads within the swap shops for the local communities anyway. So what I do is on the day I'm setting up for my sale, I'll take a step back, snap a few pictures of the entire setup, maybe a few specific items or a few specific tables, and I will post those in our local groups just to say I'm having a sale and this is what day it is and this is kind of what's here. Let's talk about pricing. You might be tempted to think that the best way to make a lot of money at a garage sale is to price your items really high so you make the most profit on them. Or maybe you think, I just want this junk gone, I'm going to price it down as low as I can to get rid of it. Can I tell you, there's a sweet spot. Nobel Prize winning researcher Daniel Kahneman and his colleagues did a study once where they gave half a group of participants a mug and asked them how much they would be willing to sell it for. Then they asked another group how much would they be willing to pay for that same mug. The ones who believed they owned it said it was worth $5 or more, while the ones who didn't own the mug said they wouldn't be willing to pay more than $2.25 or $2.75 for the mug. That's a big difference in price. So the secret to finding the perfect price for your items is to price them as though you don't own them. As I mentioned before, having a yard sale with your friend makes it so much more fun. She can help you whenever you need assistance with something, if one of you needs to take a break or whatever. The challenge with this is, how do you divide up whose money is whose? Over the years, I've had one friend that I've always worked with at garage sales, and we've tried different methods, but the one that works for us is to just keep track on a little notebook paper. We'll have like a spiral notebook paper there at our checkout station. So whenever we have a customer come up to checkout, we tally up how much of it was hers and how much of it was mine, and then add the two together to give that price to the customer. Then when the garage sale is over, we tally up each thing and divide the money accordingly. I've heard some people actually color code the prices, so one friend will have green labels and one friend will have orange labels, and they'll just take the stickers off and put them in the notebook. You can do that, but sometimes, stickers get lost and things, so I just like write it down. Or maybe we change the price when we haggle with people over the prices. So that's why we prefer to write it down. One of the best ideas I ever came up with for occupying the kids was for them to have a lemonade stand. Kids love to have lemonade stands, right? But they don't often get the foot traffic up to their house to make it worthwhile, which can be really boring and really disappointing for them. They get lots of great foot traffic to their lemonade stand from all that signage we put out for our own sale, and they're able to make their own money, and they really have a good time doing that. Over the years, my kids have sold lemonade and cookies, even cupcakes. One person suggested they even sell donuts and coffee since it's first thing in the morning. And of course, my kids love all the extra attention they get from. I mentioned before that I like to have a second day and mark everything down half price. This means that most of my stuff gets gone. Whether I have the sale on Thursday and Friday or Friday, Saturday, I always mark things half price around 11 a.m. or maybe noon, depending on traffic. Sometimes I even say it's like a $5 bag sale, and whatever they can fill in a bag, they can get for $5 or less, depending on what kind of stuff you have left. This works great if you're planning to donate all these items anyway. But if you do have a few items that you want to save to sell on an online marketplace at a higher price, just keep those up by the checkout and say these are excluded from the half price sale. When you're all done, it's time to load up and clean up and donate the leftover items. When it's time to donate your items, think about donating thoughtfully. So maybe take your books to the library or clothes to a clothing closet or donation center. Maybe household items to a women's shelter or something like that. I know it's easier to just load it all up and take it to the nearest donation center, but really take some time to think about how your items can have the greatest impact in the world. Now it's time to clean up and count the cash. That's the best part of a sale. I have heard from so many people that they don't think that the sale is worth the hassle, but if you follow these tips and follow this plan, you will be pleased with your results. Thank you so much for joining me in the Clutter to Cash Challenge. I can't wait to hear about your result. Be sure and reach out to me in our Facebook group and let me know how your sale went, and if you have any questions along the way. I'd be happy to walk you through listing your items online or deciding prices for anything you're stuck on. It's been so much fun walking through this process with you. I hope to see you again soon. I'm Christina from Gathering Joy, helping you cut through the chaos and get to the heart of what matters.